I request all of you to,
Good morning.
time being, mute your both audio and video is left to the MMTTC. So I request all of you to mute, time being, the audios. And as and when I expect a kind of interactions from you, you suddenly unmute it and then respond to my queries. So I'm with you now to share my views and thoughts on a more philosophical terminology called research and the process of documenting the research. And let me make it very clear that I am neither from the Department of Education nor even from the Department of Philosophy to speak on the terminology called more philosophical terminology called research. I am from very much the Department of Studies in Computer Science, but still I am here to talk about this research and documentation because of my experience due to my own personal research or the experience which I could gain while working with my more than dozen of research scholars, both in conducting research and tabulating the results and reasoning out the results, and then finally documenting the research activities for various purposes, including publication. Shenmuga Gowda, please unmute your audio. Is it? Please mute. So I appreciate all the participants, please, because I am sure that you will not make any noise, but the background makes the noise. So, and number two, let me also make it very clear that in my presentation, I would be using two terminologies probably more frequently. The one is research, the other one is PhD. I'm using them as if they are synonyms, as if they are one and the same. They can be interchangeably used, but strictly. There is a big difference between them. One is a journey, the research is a journey, whereas PhD is a byproduct of that journey. But in my presentation, as in when I'm talking about the quality, difficulties of research, you can equally understand that I'm also talking about PhD. On the other hand, if I say it is on PhD, then we can understand that it is on the research. That's point number two. Point number three, my interest is just to take you all for a long walk on the corridor named research and documentation, showing you various avenues, corners, scopes, without letting you to stop in any corners for further discussion. As if once you built up a new house, if a visitor comes in, then don't you think that you will just take that visitor to all the corners of your new building, showing him the facilities made available without asking him to stand for a long time for having discussion on any of this part of the building. So that's my concern. And most important is that whatever the slides that I have planned for presentation, I'm sure that would suit every one of you, because basically we're all fundamentally teachers, and the slides, the content of the slides which I have created to make presentation in front of you would suit every one of you. You being a teacher, I'm sure that you would appreciate, whether you are into PhD or not into PhD, because probably in this gathering of 40 participants roughly, I'm sure that some of you must have already started supervising PhD scholars. Some of you may be supervisors, I'm not sure, but I may expect. And some of you must just have completed your PhD and waiting to enroll your name for a supervisor responsibilities. And some of you might be drafting your final thesis for submission. Some of you could be appearing for doctoral committee after enrollment for PhD to plan and work out actions for further PhD pursuance. And some of you must have just planned your PhD and looking for guides. And the more interesting personality could be those who just have dropped the idea of getting into PhD at all. Why should I get in? I mean, I would love to visualize all of you at a different levels of abstractions as far as your maturity of research and its process is concerned. But I'm sure that these slides would suit every one of you, right? Starting from the people, those who are experienced and supervising PhDs, to the people who just have dropped the idea of PhD, not getting into it. So, with this preamble, let me have an interaction for a few minutes with you, and you all can unmute your audios. But while talking, please see that you synchronize your presentations one by one, and not that all of you would talk simultaneously. My concern is on how is your understanding of the term called research? What is your understanding? How are you defining this term called research?
Scientific investigation about.
Right, quick, please. Somebody said scientific investigation of about something of our interest. Fine. Any other person?
Moving from unknowing to knowing.
Moving from unknowing to knowing, or knowing from unknowing to unknown. Learning unknown from the known things. Fine. Scientific investigation.
Discovery of the fact.
Moving from known to unknown. Discovery of fact.
Innovation.
Innovation.
Innovation of present century.
Fine. Innovation. Next.
Sir, research is nothing but a finding solutions to the problems.
Finding solution to the problem.
Good morning,
Wonderful.
sir.
Wonderful.
Sir, good morning, sir.
Yeah, please present your statement. No formalities.
Yes,
This is not offline, online.
yes.
Quick,
Research
please.
is basically, sir, yes, sir. So it's adding knowledge to the existing knowledge,
Research
sir.
is
Okay,
identifying the
uplifting the
problems.
knowledge. Fine. Somebody said some problem like? That's fine. I request all of you to mute your audios now. So you said it's investigation, finding, discovering, and you also said it is moving from known to unknown, and you said finding solution to the problem. Right? All are correct definitions for research, but none of them is complete. Right? Everything, whatever you have just spoken out as a definition for research, all are absolutely correct, but none of them is complete in presenting what is called research. That's the beauty of the term called research. I mean, even I am unable to give you a clearer definition of research, complete definition of research. However, I can elaboratively explain what is all about the research. And if you can think of integrating all the definitions that you had given me, you just assimilate them, agglomerate them, right? And then refine the sentences so that you work out a simple paragraph, perhaps. That looks to be a more appealing way of defining what is called research. That doesn't mean that we have to go on just explain that research in terms of pages when we wanted to say what is research, a definition of research. Then my interest is, I request all of you to look at the term called RESEARCH. Perhaps we can understand the meaning of the definition of research if we thoroughly understand what is search first. I mean, I just love to split up this term research into two. Keep away the RE, the RE, and search separately. So then, the moment you split up this into re plus search, research, a mathematician would love to say that research equals re plus search. Then what is searching? Searching, you know that, when you wanted to pursue a faculty induction program for about 21 days or 27 days, then he went on searching for a good institutions to pursue your faculty induction program. You attempted, right? I mean, the search is a process of finding out, search is a process of figuring out, search is a process of somehow identifying something of my interest, not somebody's interest. Please let me underline here. There are two things to be noted down. Number one, what I am looking for, the object of my interest. To handle this, online sessions, to see that I can control my slides remote, then I go in search of a remote entity. I go in search of this entity. That's an object of my interest. Number two, where I have to search for it? Can I do a random search? Can I just expect that object to be available everywhere, right? No, definitely not. Then you have to fix up the scope, the domain. These are the two things which I have to make very clear before you are attempting the search. One is objective of search. Number two, the scope of the search. Once you do it, you become successful in getting the things of your interest, figuring out the object of your interest. And if you do it second time, probably you become more effective and much more efficient than the previous. But while doing second time search, you have to make use of your experience and the knowledge of the previous attempt. Perhaps somebody will visit a city first time. For example, Mysore. Somebody will make a visit to the Mysore city very first time during his school days. Then, soon after completion of 10th standard, he will come back to Mysore to take up his education second time. If he remembers his experience of visiting Mysore first time, perhaps second time visit becomes a little comfortable than the previous. Third time visit makes him more comfortable. I mean, as and when you pick up more knowledge, and not only the knowledge, but also the experience. Look at, dear friends, the search, of course, makes me knowledgeable, makes me successful, but doing it again not only keeps me knowledgeable, but pushes me towards more experienced personality. My interest is not to end up being knowledgeable, but my interest is to become an experienced personality in the field of my interest, in the object of my interest. In some space, I want to play. While playing that, I want to be more experienced. I don't want myself to talk, but I want my experience to speak to the audience. To grow to that level of experience, then one has to do not one-time study. One has to not do one-time learn. It is relearning. Learn is important, but relearning is equally important. I mean, when you handle 1 hour lecture for your students, probably you end up giving a couple of assignments to the students. Does it mean that you are giving them the assignment because of you don't know the answers for the assignments? No. Your interest is, of course, you got them learn in your lecture hall, but your interest is to put them into relearning. Relearning is very important. Learn, relearn. So perhaps you are looking at me through my video. Some of you, majority of you are seeing me first time and listening my lecture first time. And you are cognizing about myself, my style of delivery, my pattern of creating slides and so on. And then day after tomorrow, if somebody talks about similar content, and if you happen to be see me in one of the video, then you would end up not cognizing, recognizing. Look at it. I mean, cognition, recognition, recognition. The recognition is equally important. So similarly, learn, relearn. Why is that relearning is required for a student? When he practices at home, perhaps he becomes more knowledgeable. And I mean, he can pick up on his own. He will get into learn, right? That learn to learn is what is called relearn. Similarly, search to search is called research. So if you do multiple times the search process, searching of something of your interest in the specified well-defined scope or a domain, and multiple times with the background of previous search, that's very important. Not that you have to forget the yesterday's and do again afresh. This is a one-time search only. Then I call it as research. Research is not to just end up being knowledgeable, but also to reach to the level of wise personality beyond the experience, so that I take up a wise decision at the right time for the right purpose. To grow to that level of personality is what is essential in our life is research. So hence, research can be thought of as re plus search, search again. We can call it as search again. So if you want to define that, it is a single phrase Need not say invention, need not say discovery, need not say revising something. We can simply say that research is search again. Search again. What is this search again all about? Let me have a couple of examples for you. Probably all of you are looking at this photo. Now, unmute your audio and answer my question. Only one or two of you. The moment this slide got displayed in front of you, which part of this photo really caught you suddenly?
Face, sir. Face
Face of a old man, right?
Yes.
Yes, yes. Probably all of you got attracted towards this face of
A
a old
small
man.
girl is there.
No.
Yes, sir.
First time. Don't continue answering. It's the first time. When this photo got displayed in front of you, what really caught you is the face of the old man. Now I wish you continue looking at it. Then tell me what are you locating? What are you figuring out? Then you end up answering many components of it, right?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Yes,
I
sir,
mean,
yes, sir.
if somebody puts in good effort in a continuous manner, then there is a possibility for him to have more understanding of the object of interest. I mean, it's not that one time you have to do it. It is that you have to continuously do it. When you put in your great effort to observe the objects of your interest in a continuous probably you will have an opportunity to dig out the final levels of details, final levels of knowledge on the object of your interest. That's the beauty of not search, but the research. I'll come to this. We'll come to this little later. Some of you said there is a girl standing and so on and so forth. What catches you suddenly?
Old couple.
A couple.
Old couple.
Old couple.
man and a lady, sir. Old
Yeah,
lady.
old man. Old couple. Old man and a
Old
lady,
couple.
right? Old couple. And if you continuously look at it, you can observe on some other components of it, right?
Yes, sir. Absolutely, sir.
I'll come to that little later. Then what catches you suddenly now?
A lady, young lady.
Young lady, is it? Young girl, you can say, not a lady.
Younger
Yes.
Girl, right? Is that young girl?
Yes,
Or,
sir.
do you have any other observation? Anybody? Probably the one who said young girl, as I said in the beginning, what is search? Search is something, a process of figuring out something of my interest. Probably the one who said young girl, that was his interest. Is it? Okay, fine. Let me go back to the first example. And here what I am doing is, let me cut off this, mark this area of the entire photo, and then display it adjacent to it in relatively magnified version. And I wish you to focus your attention only on this cut and displayed part of the image, but don't concentrate on the whole image. Now I want you to be very focused on this and try to find out something which you could not recognize earlier, which you could not notice earlier. Anybody?
A
So
baby
she's
in a
carrying
hamper.
something.
Yeah, she is carrying
holding
something which was not noticed by you all of a sudden when you had looked at the entire image. But now it is possible for you to look at that she holds something in her hand. Why is that possible? Because I just have used tools, I just have used some procedure to segment it out and display it in a magnified version. I mean, I just have gone with some computer aided techniques to get this image segmented, I mean, decomposed out of it, and then displayed adjacent to it, and magnified it, and displayed it in little bigger version, so that the one which was not noticed, the one which you could not figure out earlier, because it was very finer in detail, now become magnified and visible, right? I mean, when you go with a search and a research, it's not that you are going to make only two things very clear. In addition, further, you are going to make procedures and tools also to be very clear. What procedures I am adopting. Look, dear friends, though I am just quoting some of pictorial example, my interest is to let you know the quality attributes of two things. One is the process called research. What are the quality attributes of the process called research? How are the attributes of the research process? And number two, the one who carries out the research, let me call him as a researcher. What are the good qualities of a great researcher? Right? What he is supposed to pick up. Now I am telling you with this pictorial example, researchers should have a focused mind. In the previous example, I said, if I allow you to continuously look at this picture with a constant effort, then probability that you can dig out more detail is very high. I mean, researcher has to put in the effort continuously, not in a discrete way. You got to think always towards your research. Number one. Number two, you must have a focused attention while carrying out research. That's the attribute, that's the qualities of a researcher. And on the other end, if I look at the process, then you have got to make objective and the scope. Further, you have got to make very clear what tools are you using, which procedures are following up. With this pictorial example, I wanted to make sure that the tools and procedures have got to be well defined. Now, my concern is the following. What is supposed to be in our hand? Any guess? You said she wrote something in her hand. What is supposed to be in her hand?
Sir,
Baby
a baby, sir.
A baby. Look, you said the problem is identifying what is supposed to be in her hand. Then you could guess that it could be a baby because you have thought of she is a lady, right? There is some background knowledge for you to guess, and such a guess is what is called hypothesis. Look, any research process is supposed to be initiated with a guess, but the guess should not be random. Guess should be with the background of your education. When you start tackling the problem towards arriving at a solution with a guess towards it, if that guess is completely driven by your background of education, then I say that guess is nothing but a hypothesis. I mean, research has to begin with hypothesis. Then I would recommend you to go with not a single hypothesis, probably with multiple hypotheses. Look, you said it is a baby. Or let me present you the following or narrate the following story to you. I just say that I've been seeing this girl for a long years, probably about 20 years. And she is staying adjacent to my residence. And I understood that. She has come from... I understood that she has come from a poor family background. And her responsibility every day, being from such a poor family background, is to carry the sheep all along to the field early in the morning. And she is supposed to come back along with the sheep back home in the evening. And while coming back home in the evening, she is expected to carry the grass on her head. Now I have a question for you. Look at in this segmented picture. What is seen in the background is supposed to be like a grass on her head. And now she is coming back all along, back home in the evening, holding something in her hand. What is supposed to be that?
A tape, sir. A cube.
A baby, right? Baby sheep. Lamb, you can call it as lamb.
Ram.
Look, because of my background story, you just labeled that object in her hand to be the lamp. On the other hand, if I tell you that, look at, she's standing in front of a hut, very small hut, where roof is made up of grass material. What you see in the background is supposed to be the roof of the hut, and she is holding something in her hand. And I understand that she got married just 1.5 years back. Then what is supposed to be in her hand now? It's a baby. Look, the labels become different. Why? Because the background stories are different. That's what I said. While hypothesizing, you have to make use of your background of education. That's why most of the institutions, including our universities, have made it compulsory for the research scholars soon after enrollment. I got to attend through the coursework. Coursework is to pick up the background knowledge on the topic of your interest. Look, with this pictorial example, I just have mentioned that. Number one, you must have a focused attention. Number two, you must well define what is called the tools and procedure of your process. And number three, you have to understand what is the background. You must have to pick up strong background of your topic. So, ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಮ್ಯೂಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ರಿ ಮೇಡಮ್.
ಮಿಸ್ಟರ್ ಸಣ್ಣ ರಾಮೇಗೌಡ ಸರ್.
ಪ್ರದೀಪ್ ಕುಮಾರ್ ಮ್ಯೂಟ್.
ಸಣ್ಣ ರಾಮೇಗೌಡ ಅವ್ರದ್ದು ಅನ್ಮ್ಯೂಟ್ ಆಗಿದೆ ಸರ್, ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಹೇಳಿದೆ.
ಮ್ಯೂಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ, ನಿಮ್ಮದು ಮ್ಯೂಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ. ನಾನು ಯಾರು ಅನ್ಮ್ಯೂಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ರೆ ಅವ್ರು ಮಾಡಿಸ್ತೀನಿ ನಾನು. Or MMTCC people can control it, I think. They can mute everyone. As and when I raise an issue, you unmute it, please. Be with us along. Okay. Let me continue now talking about this. Look at here is a person, probably some of you or many of you must not have noticed. Let me get this segmented out and displayed adjacent to it. What do you see in this smaller version? A old man standing, right? A old man standing. Is he comfortably standing?
No, sir.
No. Why? What is the reason? What's supposed to be the reason?
Maybe bad weather.
Maybe bad weather?
Is he playing some instrument there?
I think he is with some rug or a shawl. But he is uncomfortable. Look at his legs, especially the knee part of it. He looks to be more scared of. He looks to be more scared of. Look, whatever he said could be bad weather, could be, old age, may not be healthy, right? He may be holding something in her head. These are all conventional way of looking at it. I mean, when you are taken up a problem, you should not look at the problem in the conventional way the others are thinking. The way in which others are thinking. No. You have got to think differently. Probably, having heard of my previous story, I said background story. Right? One should have, before hypothesizing, one should have a background story. Look, before presenting this old man on the slide, I presented a young lady. And notice in the original plane, an original image, the young lady stands in front of this old man. And most of the times, even young boys scared of standing in front of young ladies today. Then how can you expect this old man to stand comfortably well in front of the young lady, right? Though it looks to be funny, but this is where we are expecting the research scholars to think differently. I mean, inculcate unconventional way of thinking. When you inculcate unconventional way of thinking, then there is a possibility for you to come out with a new knowledge. Otherwise, you will not come out with a new knowledge. I mean, if I look at this object in the way the others are thinking, I don't create any new knowledge for it. If I want to create a new knowledge on the object of my interest, I have to perceive it in different ways, in different style that others have not thought of so far. And that is what is called diversification ability. Diversification of what? Diversification of thought. Think. Your thinking must be like, look, I am holding a cup of water where cup is made up of glass material. Due to some reason, I just dropped the cup. What happens? The moment it is dropped on the floor, the glass material, it gets broken down into multiple pieces, but the water will run in all 360 directions. The moment a problem is given to the mind of a researcher, the researcher is expected to think in all possible ways, not in the only one way. That too, a conventional way. That way, the way the others have been thinking of. With this simple example, I just wanted to tell you that inculcate an ability of thinking unconventionally. That's the greatest attribute of a good researcher. If you want to accomplish something, and if you want to have a reward for generating a new knowledge on a topic of your interest, however old the topic is, however the topic is being well solved by others, but still your individuality matters. As long as you feel you are unique, as long as you feel you have got certain attributes, certain characteristics which make you unique, which make you individually different, I'm sure that even if you take up a old problem which is solved well, can be looked upon in a different perception. So perceiving the object of your interest from different perception is supposed to be one of the greatest attributes of a good researcher. And I would call it as diversification of thinking. So you must diversify your thinking, right? And number two, you need not try to solve the problem in a direct way. Probably when you attempt to solve the problem P direct way, you may find it very difficult. Then think of re-expressing the problem P in terms of P dash. I mean, I'm just working out another equivalent problem P dash, whereas P dash is defined by a different set of parameters, where P was defined in a different set of parameters. But finding out a solution for P dash would help you in finding out a solution for P. P is my original problem. But when I attempt solving P, P appears to be difficult. Then can I think of transforming this P into P dash? Can I move from the space of P to a space of P dash, where I can do some operations, I can get the P dash solved very easily so that I can come back. Imagine a situation where I have got a 1 meter long iron rod of 3 inches diameter. You think of 3 inches diameter and this of 1 meter rod. I want to bend it. I'm not that energetic. I'm not that, I don't have that strength to bend it. But still I want to accomplish. Then what do? Where is the location? Where is the point where I have to bend it? I just heat it up. The moment it is heated, then that hard iron rod becomes a soft iron piece. Once it is softened, then you can bend it. Once you bend it, you just cool it back so that it becomes original. Now I accomplished my job. But I have not accomplished my task of bending an iron rod of 1 meter long, of 3 inches diameter directly, but I converted that from a original to the refined. I mean, I just heated it, then I converted that P hard into soft, and then I did my operation. Again, I cooled back. That cooling is a reversible process, right? So see that P can be rewritten as P dash and find out the solution S dash for P dash, and then convert that through reverse operations so that S dash becomes yes, a solution for P. This is another intellectual attitude, intellectual ability of a good researcher. Okay? So these are some of the examples, pictorial examples with which I wanted to present you the attributes of good researcher. Similarly, you can look at what is called a phase. There are many things. Now, what's your guess about this? What's your guess about this? What can be this?
Sleeping, sir.
Pardon?
Sleeping dog.
Sleeping dog. So you would say that sleeping dog. When I say that, because you would visualize that this is a road. On the road, there is a dog sleeping, right? Let me present you the following fact that, look, dear friends, I just had captured this picture when I was in the United States of America. Suppose if I tell you that, some of you must have visited America. If not, you heard of discipline in America. Why dogs, even cows, are not allowed to walk on the street of United States of America. Then can you expect a dog to sleep on that road? No, you would say that, sir, guarantee that it is not a dog because this picture is captured from United States of America. Look at on the other end. If I tell you that this picture I caught it only when I visited Devaraja's Road of Mysore city. I just could capture when I visited city of Mysore last night. Then you would say that, sir, why only one dog is there sleeping? I expected many more dogs. What matters here? The source of image. Where is that image? Right? If it is from United States of America, my decision would go different. If it is from the city Mysore of India, then the decision will be different, right? I mean, source of data. Look, if the statement is given by Nakshatrika, it is always like wrong. If the statement is given by same statement, X is the statement. Who stated that X? Harishchandra. Then you understand that 100% true. If X is given by Nakshatrika, then you understand that X is completely lie. I mean, X is same, but the sources are different. Unfortunately, in the Indian scenario, most of the Indian scholars would go on understanding only the primary data without looking at the source of data. I mean, who has given you the data? What is his maturity in producing the data? Because most of you, I think, I am sure that all of you might be frequently receiving emails from contemporary researchers telling that please fill up the form and submit this because I want data from you. But they don't look at whether a middle school boy is filling up the form, or a high school teacher is filling up the form, or a senior professor is filling up the form. They don't mind, but they want only the data. So if you work only in the data without knowing the maturity of the people or the source of the data, then probably you would go wrong in making decisions. That's more important. So it's not that you have to look at only the primary data, but you have to look at the source of the data. In addition, for example, see, somebody will serve you in front of you, will go with a cup of a small vessel and then collect the water through a tap, coming through a tap in front of you only, and then he will have a small spoon and then serves you a drop of water. What do? You will just end up washing your hand. Instead of that, probably that same thing is served like a drop of water. But he says that this is brought from Tirupati. Then what do? You don't wash your hand. Instead, you will take it with a great bhakti, right? Very great devotion, you take it with a great respect because that water is from Tirupati Kshetra. But whereas the first one, the water is from your neighboring tap. Look, same water, but where is that from? Is it from Tirupati or is it from my own tap? That matters a lot. That's what I call it as source of data. So dear friends, if you really want to come out with a proper labeling of the result that you got because of your experimentation in research, it's not that you have to simply look at the data that you collected. You have to look at the process that you employed. In addition to that, where is that data come from? What is the source of that? What are the parameters of the source generating the data? So next, you may look at myself now. Somebody's looking at myself. I'm continuously talking, keeping my laptop in front of me. And understand that he observes carefully myself talking, and where you are interacting. And there are about 40 students logged into my network. Then he understands that I am a speaker invited for making presentations to deal with others, to present others for knowledge exchange purpose. Then he treat me with a great respect. On the other hand, I am sitting like this. I'm continuously talking, keeping my computer in front of me, but none of you are online. Everybody quit, but still I am continuously talking for hours together. And the moment you understand that nobody is there, but he alone talking, then you understand that I may be a madman. You will call for an ambulance. Look, with your presence, I am treated as a resource person. With your absence, I am taken to be an hospital, right? What matters? It's not me, my qualification. No, it's not my content. It's not my slide. It's not my presentation. But your presence or absence matters. Myself being seen standing in front of a railway station, then I will be treated as a passenger. Myself is seen laying down on a bed in a hospital. I'm considered to be a patient. Myself is seen walking along with my kid, and myself will be treated to be the father. Myself is seen walking along with my research scholars, then my label will be research supervisor. Myself is seen walking with my mother, and myself to be considered as a son. Look at the same person, same dress, same style, everything, but labels are different because the contexts are different. This is where my research scholars are supposed to look at. Look, it's not only the primary data matters, it's also the secondary data matters, contextual data matters. And most often, unfortunately, I've been seeing for the last 3 decades almost that, especially the Indian scholars, will look at only the primary data, forgetting the parameters of the source of the data, forgetting the process being employed on it, forgetting the contextual data, forgetting the secondary data. Dear friends, if you want to accomplish something good, it is that you have to take care of all these factors. So, anyway, let me further continue with a couple of more interesting components of it. Let me not spend much time on this. Let's go with this. Then my question is the following. I want you to answer whether this old couple love each other or hate each other. I don't want your feeling. I want you to pursue from this image, right?
Playing.
Pardon? Are they hating each other or they love each other?
Loving
They're
each other.
loving each other,
Loving
sir.
each other.
And I don't want your experience, sir.
Loving each other.
I mean, just because you love your foes, don't say they love each other. Or just because you hate, don't say they hate each other. Whatever you answer, that should be justified with the evidences available from this image itself. Right? Whether you say love each other, whether you say hate each other, makes no difference for me, because my interest is to take up this pictorial example to present my ideas in a better way. Okay? If you want to say that they love each other, there must be some extraordinary evidences available in the picture itself. Otherwise, I say that your decision is prejudiced. Look, research should be independent of prejudice. Whatever the result which will come out, that's not that you have got to simply tabulate and publish it, but you have got to reason out the result. Research is nothing but a process of not generating the result, process of reasoning out the result. When you want to claim something which is extraordinary, you have got to find an extraordinary evidences for it from the same process, generated from the same process. Otherwise, I say that your research is prejudiced, because research is a process of digging out the fact. Research is a process of finding something hidden in the nature. But while doing so, it should not get prejudiced. There shall not be any second your personal opinion on that. It should be only the fact which is supposed to be digged out. Look, when you are attempting towards discovery of facts, then you are going to work blindly, no additional information except your background of education. If you want to say that they are hating each other, you have to quote evidence from the same. For example, one of my students said, "Sir, I declare that old lady is angry about old man, unhappy about that old man." Then I said, "Why are you saying that?" Because look at sir, in his, especially the year of that old man, there is a Shakuntala-like photo. Because that old man carries somebody's photo, how can you expect this old lady to tolerate it? That's why she is angry. I mean, he had quoted in evidence for it, right? I appreciated him because a young boy could think differently. In fact, I had admitted him for PhD. Now he has completed his PhD and worked for Samsung company. That's what is called diversification of thinking, right? Should not think the other ways, the way others are thinking. So probably you can say that they are loving each other. That's why they are hugging. Probably you see that the old man is trying to hug. And the other end, someone present that no, he is trying to convince that old lady because she is angry. These are all the different ways of. But one thing is certain: when you want to justify your answer, the evidences that you are using for justification of your answer is not from the different sources, but from the same environment. That's most important here. So these are different parts of this picture, including flower pot and so on. Here, all of you said that it's a young girl. Probably this is what is the neck of the young girl. This is what is the ear of the young girl. And this is the nose of the young girl. This is the eye part of that. This is the forehead part of it. This is the mouth part of it, and so on. That appears to be young girl. On the other hand, please let me present you that. You see that the left portion of a old woman. This is the nose. Please look at this is the nose. This is the mouth, right? This is the ear. This is the eye of the old lady. This is the eye of the old lady. This is the forehead of the old lady, right? Like looking like an old lady. This is the nose. I mean, this image is not presenting only one called young girl. It also presents a old lady. It is assimilation of old and young. And if you want to see old, young should be present. If you want to see young, old should also be present. Or else, if I just take away the old lady portion, then young girl would disappear. Or if I erase the young girl portion, then old lady would disappear. I mean, both of them would existing mutually dependent. I have taken up this intentionally for this seminar to just let you know that this is how the relationship between the supervisor and the student. Student should not have an existence without the existence of a supervisor. Supervisor should think that he or she does not have any existence without the existence of the student. Student and teacher, student and supervisor should exist mutually each other depending on. Hope you're understanding. That's supposed to be the relationship between a PhD supervisor and a research scholar. So they must mutually respect each other and they must mutually believe that I can accomplish something only when scholar is there. And scholar should feel that I can do something great only when my supervisor is with me. So there is nothing like a diverse for them, right? So this is what intentionally I just wanted to take up. A canvas, how is the relationship between supervisor and a research scholar? So now my question is the following. What are the things which you have learned so far? I made the following points here: tool, procedure, scope, objective of study, assumption, hypothesis, contextual data, source of data. These are all the attributes of the research process. So to get into the research process, you have to make your objective of study very clear, scope of very clear, tools and procedures should be well defined, and you have to hypothesize. Hypothesis is nothing but a educated guess. You can call it as an educated guess, not a random guess. And it's not that you have to start everything afresh from the bottom, but you have to assume certain knowledge level available and build up the knowledge about it. And then it's not physical data always matters. It's also secondary data, contextual data, the source of data. These are all the attributes of a process called research. On the other hand, look at the right side. I have set of points listed out. These are the attributes of a good researcher. He must be good at diversification of thinking, must have a focused mind to accomplish, should have a strong background knowledge, and must be very, very patient in it. I mean, PhD, P refers, in my opinion, patience, right? If you acquire PhD, you must be known for your patience in future. So it's not that you have to work in a discrete manner. I said one has to put in continuous effort. I mean, even while sleeping, your subconscious should be active, working on your research topic. So whatever you do should be systematic in approach, in the sense that you should be able to reproduce it, and you must have a committed research scholar with a great ambitions that guarantee you will do it. These are the good attributes of a great researcher. So I just have listed out a couple of things which you have discussed, both for the two different entities are participating. One is a process itself is an entity called research. Another one is the person who is involved in the research process called researcher. These are the attributes of that. Now my question is, probably we must have spent about 45 to 50 minutes so far. Do you think that all of you are active or passive?
We are active, sir.
Are you sure?
We are active.
Right. What did you do being active? What did you do being active for the last 50 minutes? You just simply listen to me? You interacted with me?
We get
Right?
an idea about the
I mean, what did we do? I just have inquired with you. You have answered. You just have raised up a couple of points. I just have went on elaborately explaining you. I mean, we wanted or we attempted in understanding research in different perceptions. I mean, for this session, I have taken up an interesting object called research. Is an object of my study that is looked at from different perceptions. I mean, I was interacting with you, I was querying you, you are answering that. I mean, we did a kind of inquiry into the topic of our interest. And we were active process of inquiry. And such an active process of inquiry is what is called research. Look, dear friends, in a first line, if you want to define the term called research in a single phrase, you end up saying that search again. If you want to put it in a sentential form, you can say that a research is an active process of inquiry. Active process, but it is not every active process. It is an inquiry process where some knowledge is generated. That's such an active. I mean, whatever we have done for the last 15 minutes, it's a kind of research only. We just went on searching on the topic of research. That's all. We just wanted to have a different way of looking at the topic called research. So, and such an active process of inquiry is what is called research. And in addition to this, I expect it to satisfy two important properties. One is systematic. That active process of inquiry should be very, very systematic in the sense that if you are asked to do it again day after tomorrow, should be able to reproduce the same thing. That reproduction ability, that reproducibility of a process is what is called systematic process. If I am asked to deliver lecture on research again for the next set of participants by the MMTTC, probably I will deliver in the same order, maybe with a different language. I may use Kannada, I may use Hindi later, but I will present in the same order, right? I may quote different set of examples, but I go in the same order. I reproduce the same thing. That I call it as my lecturing is systematic. And soon after completion of my lecture, if I recollect the way in which I could convince you, the way in which I could present my thoughts to you people about the research process, if I feel happy about it, then I said that process is called diligent. Probably every teacher will be enjoying the diligency soon after completion of 1 hour lecture while exiting from the classroom. Then I say that 1 hour you spent inside the classroom was so diligent. I mean, if a person spends about 3 to 4 years accomplishing research, and soon after completion of it, if he sits idle and then with a closed eyes, imagines about the way in which he spent the 3 years, the joy with which he could do that for the last 3 years, and if he feels happy about it, internally happy about it, then I say that that process was diligent. I expect the research process to be such a diligent process in addition to being systematic. Anyway, the research can aim at, as some of you are already mentioned, aim at discovery. Discovery is something. Discovery. Cover. Discover. There is something which is covered. You are making it open. I mean something which is hidden. You are making it open for others to see. Discovery doesn't mean that something has suddenly come out. No, it was existing. It has been existing for long years. But unfortunately, your community, I mean, the people with whom you are associated might not have seen it. I am just holding it. Nobody has seen it. That doesn't mean that this has not been seen by others. It would have been seen by others yesterday. But now a new set of people have come in. Yesterday's have gone out, and now I am holding it. Yesterday people have seen, but for the today's people it is discovered. I mean, if I say that X is discovered by Y, Y is a person, X is the object which is discovered. Columbus discovered, right? Vasco da Gama discovered. What? That doesn't mean that America did not have people. There were people living in America, but this man found the path to America and also established that there is another land where people are living, right? So he has found the path doesn't mean that there was no path earlier. There was a path, but nobody noticed it. That is what is the meaning of discovery, right? So interpretation. That's what I've been doing for the last 1 hour almost. I have been interpreting the terminology called research in different styles, different perception. So even interpretation process could be a wonderful research. Yeah, I mean your research can aim at a discovery. Your research can think of interpreting the objects, interpreting the result that you generated in your own style. But while doing so, don't have any prejudice. You have to contribute. You have to sacrifice yourself only for the digging out the truth behind it while interpreting. So that's called interpretation. Revising fact. I say that, A is a brother of B, like Rama is a brother of Lakshmana. Lakshmana is a brother of Bharata. If I stop saying, then I say that finally you will come out with that. All three are brothers, right? Though I said one fact, Rama is a brother of Lakshmana. The other fact, Lakshmana is a brother of Bharata. Then finally you end up saying that all three are brothers, right? This is what is called revising the fact. I mean, given are the n number of facts. Fact means something which is true forever. So, tautologies. Given our n number of tautologies, now assimilate all tautology, right? Aggregate all the tautology, integrate all the tautology. And because of that integration, because of that assimilation, You come out of a new way of expressing all in a summary way. And that summary way is what is called revising fact. The benefit of this revising fact is that, some unexpected result may arrive. You never expected that you will come out with it. No. But unfortunately, you expected something to happen, but something totally new thing will happen. That's the benefit of revising fact. Here, I intentionally avoided the invention because I, being a mathematician, I don't love an invention. I don't believe in invention because everything is only a mathematical reformation. Okay, everything is available, but in a new style will come out with. Any new invention is nothing but old one only, but presented in a new way. That's a transformation, I believe in it. So that's why I intentionally avoided invention. I don't love to call it research is nothing but an invention. If you want, you can use that term called invention. No secondary thinking in that. But in the revising fact, please let me underline. Revising fact is collect some of the facts and then think of revising them in a different way so that you have got to navigate through the facts. You have got to pass through the fact. It's not that you have to study only one fact at a time. Understand each fact and then try to understand them in a collective way. Dig out the relationship between the facts. Dig out the relationship existing between the relationship among the facts. I mean, first level relationship, second level relationship, and then think of a knowledge of pyramid. And revising facts would help you in building up such knowledge of a pyramidical structure, right? So you wanted to swim in one corner of the ocean. You just get into the ocean, but while slipping, while swimming, you may notice some objects and you may follow it up, and then you may get out of the ocean in different part of the ocean unexpectedly. That's what is called revising. Revising fact is because of the navigation across the facts. And while navigating across the fact, you have to dig out the relationship among the fact. Not only the relationship among the fact, it's also relationship among the facts. That's what is called revising. For example, imagine here is a area called Saraswatipuram in Mysore, right? There are people. I just expect, suppose one of you want to pursue PhD with me and you approach me, sir, I want to do PhD. Then I say, look, there is something which is really triggering me for long years. You work on it. Then what is that, sir? Then I say that, look, there is an area in Mysore called Saraswatipuram. Hope that none of you are from Saraswatipuram of Mysore. So look at, go to the Saraswatipuram. It is a well-planned part of the Mysore city. There are about 10 streets. In each street there are about 100 families, and totally there are about 1,000 families. In each family there is a lady married. Just a funny example I'm putting. Then I want to understand whether that lady married is happy in Saraswatipuram or not. Okay, sir, fine, I'll collect the data. You go there and you meet with a married lady. How many houses? 1,000 houses. Then you go and tap the door. A lady will open up the door and suddenly you will ask, are you happy, madam? Right? Then she will hit you. Don't do that. Then the moment she opens up the door, you just introduce yourself, say that I am pursuing my PhD with so-and-so in the University of Mysore. I want some data about you. Are you married, madam? Yes, I am married. Then are you happy? You collect the data. Go to the next door, do the same thing, and visit all 1,000 families and come back. And interestingly, you come back. Let's assume that you come back with the fact that every married lady is unhappy. Every married lady in Saraswatipuram is unhappy. Then you say that, sir, I found an interesting pattern matching. What is that pattern? Pattern is same across all. Every married lady in Saraswatipuram is unhappy. I want to publish a material. What do you want to publish? Marriage makes ladies unhappy. Oh my God, don't do that. Because you are a research scholar. I am a supervisor. If everything goes well, credit is yours. If something goes wrong, then it is my responsibility. So don't be hurry, because you just have collected whether married lady is happy or unhappy. That doesn't mean that because of marriage she is unhappy, right? Do one thing, go back, collect another data. Why are you unhappy? Why are you unhappy? Then the scholar will go back to the ladies. He meets with all 1,000 ladies and comes back in the evening with an angry face. Sir, yesterday only I told you, marriage has made them unhappy. But you really have forced me to go back second day, wasting one day for me. This is how the quarrel between the scholar and the supervisor. Because supervisor always thinks secondary. because he is responsible for the entire work, whereas scholars is early in completing and publishing material, right? Then the scholar fights against the teacher telling that, I wanted to publish a material yesterday only, but today you delayed one day. But what did you find today? Sir, as I said in the yesterday, ladies are unhappy because of their marriage. Okay, fine. What do you want to say now? I want to publish it. No. Look, you collected data. No, you are not done any research. You just simply collected data, not done any research. Don't be hurry. Go back to Saraswatipuram. Meet with the bachelor young girls over there and collect the data. Oh, okay, sir. I will do it. Then third day he will go. Meeting with all bachelor girls. Look, this day he will be so intelligent. He will not interact with a girl with one question, but he does interacting with a girl. Two questions. Number one, are you happy or unhappy? If he happy or unhappy, why are you unhappy? Right? I mean, that's the benefit of doing two things, research, because he was sent. Otherwise, second time in the case of ladies example, he will definitely understand that if he does not go with the second question, the supervisor will send him back. He collects two data. Then he will come back on the third day, sir, I'm really unhappy now. Why? Even girls are unhappy, sir. I cannot say that marriage has made girls, women unhappy. So even bachelor girls are also unhappy in Saraswatipuram. Did you ask them why? Yes, sir, I had asked them why. Then what did they respond? Every girl say that they are unhappy because of unable to get a good guy to get married, for example. I mean, the girls could not locate a good guy to get married, and because of that, they are unhappy, sir. Oh, fine. We got two facts now. What is fact number one? Fact number one is every married woman in Saraswatipuram is unhappy because of the marriage. Number two, every girl who is a bachelor girl in Saraswatipuram is also unhappy because of they are unable to get a good guy to get married. Then we sit across the table and we establish a study that now the research starts. Till then, it was a collection of data. Till then, it is only a gathering of data. Then we just come out with this pictorial representation. Look at, there are female. Female can be partitioned into two subsets. One is a married class. Another one is unmarried class. Right? So M, married class. Whereas unmarried class. Now, both of them are unhappy. Why? The married class is unhappy because husband is not good. Unmarried class is unhappy because there is no corresponding boy who is good to get married. Now, on the other hand, look at the male class in Saraswatipuram. That could also be decomposed into two disjoint, a married class and unmarried class. Right? Now, I establish why this married woman is unhappy because no man is good here. Had there been one man who is good, perhaps the corresponding lady would have been happier. So then I understand that every married woman is unhappy because of the corresponding married man is not good. Then every woman called unmarried girl is unhappy because she is unable to get a good guy from this bachelor class. Had there been at least one bachelor boy who is good, perhaps there should have been one bachelor girl who would have been happier. Then I understand that, look, whether it is a married man or unmarried bachelor boy, none of them is good. Now look, we collected the data from on the top bubbles, but we are now deducing information on the bottom bubbles. Then I say that in Saraswatipuram, no man is good. Look, this is what is called revising fact. Now you publish a material. This is the graph structure. This is a research process. This is a model we analyzed. This is the experiment we conducted with the sufficient data. And we come out with, look, we wanted to make a study on women in Saraswatipuram, but we ended up understanding on men in Saraswatipuram. This is the advantage of going with a research of type, what is called revising fact. In the revising fact, I just get into the research at one level, but I try to generate the information on the different parts of it. Okay? So it is what is called navigation. Look at in this graph. I navigate through. And that process of navigation across the facts, including the relationship existing among them, is what is called revising fact. Most of the research is because of revising facts. So Research can aim at discovery or could aim at interpretation, that could be even at revising fact. Whatever it is, so the research can be classified majorly into two categories. One is the fundamental research, a pure research, basic research, which is responsible for creating a new knowledge. Like Newton. Newton created theories, the fundamental. Today, Newton laws are so dominating in the sense that there is no physics without Newton law. But at the time of creation of that, Newton never imagined that his theories will have tremendous influence on physics. Never imagined that it finds tremendous applications, right? That is what is called basic research. Basic research is the one which is responsible in creating a new knowledge. Need not worry about the application of it, right? Most of the times, unfortunately, we the teachers will discourage the students if student comes with a problem for which we don't find the application. Just because we don't find the application, we cannot conclude that it does not have an application at all, because it may be the lack of our knowledge. Because of lack of our knowledge, we are unable to find application for the problem. But somebody, if you create a knowledge and display it for others, probably somebody may find it very useful. If not this year, if not in this generation, perhaps in the next generation, there could be an application. If not geographically in India, it may find a tremendous application outside India. But one thing is certain, if there is a problem which is not being solved well, if there is some problem for which you don't have an answer for it, you just do solve it, generate the knowledge. Don't look at the application. And such a type of research is what is called pure, basic, fundamental research and responsible for generating knowledge. Whereas on the other hand, knowledge is there. Like Pythagorean rule is, I am aware of it. A right angle triangle, hypotenuse, the square of it is nothing but the sum of the squares of the remaining two. I know that. Now I have some problem. I'm sitting here and looking at the top of a hill in front of me. Then what is the distance from hill base to myself? And what is the angle with which I just have turned my eyes? If I know these two, I can calculate the height of the hill using Pythagorean formula. Look at Pythagorean rule is generalized, but now I am applying it for a specific problem of my interest. That's what is called applied research. I mean, applied research concentrates on finding a solution to a problem, making a practical application possible. It is applied. I mean, I just want to apply the known knowledge on the topic of my interest. Current demand gets solved. What is the need? Look, when COVID started in 2020 or 2021, how to go with the education? Otherwise, we are supposed to block the entire year without any education. No. Then suddenly we just thought of, oh, there is a tool called Zoom. There is a tool called Microsoft. Online education can be planned out. I mean, that doesn't mean that we created online education. There was a tool earlier to it. Then thought of making use of it. That knowledge was there, and knowledge was made use of to make the education continue happening, right? And that is what is called solution to a problem in hand. And soon after COVID disappeared, even online education has lost its, importance, right? Importance. So solution to a problem, making it practically possible today to get rid of from the current situation. I need not create a new knowledge. So look at, dear friends, these are the two categories. One is a basic research, the other one is a applied research. Basic research is responsible for creating a knowledge, whereas applied research is to make use of the existing knowledge created by. That doesn't mean that basic is something very great, applied is not that great. No. Without applied research, basic research has no use. And without basic research, applied research cannot happen at all. Right? That doesn't mean that one is great, the other one is not great. Both are equally important for human life. But in our mind, most of the times I say that I am a theoretical scientist. I don't want to look at your application. But that man says that I am an applied scientist. I don't want to look at the theory. No, there should not be any separation between these two in the minds of a good researcher. So look, the basic research goes with a question. Newton, the moment he had seen apple falling down, he himself had a question. Why it is falling down? What is the reason for it? But he never imagined the application of it. Asking and answering question is what is called basic research. Ask a question. If it has no answer, answer it. That's what is called basic research. Whereas on the other hand, asking and answering what is required today for today's requirement, what is the need of today, and answer that need, that's what is called applied research. Look, basic research advances the knowledge base, whereas applied research uses that advanced knowledge. And while using this advanced knowledge, while solving an application problem, which is not necessarily original, may create a new insight into a theoretical work. Like Archimedes, you must have heard of Archimedes. Archimedes was given a problem by the king to find out the ratio of the mixture of two different materials, right? And while attempting it, he came out with a new theory of density. That new theory of density is a original research which is still happening, which is still exists. Whereas that finding a ratio in the materials used, that's applied research that got solved and forgotten, right? Look, sometimes the applied research gives a question for the basic research. Basic research creates a knowledge for the applied research. This is how these two will go hand in hand. They are talking mutually each other. Then there shall not be any separation between them that this is great or that is great. In my opinion, dear friends, because of, look, most of the Western universities PhD thesis and even our Indian scenario, IIT's thesis, IIM thesis are well accepted and appreciated because of the following fact that in every thesis of, let's assume that about 6 chapters, there are about 2 to 3 chapters concentrate on creation of a new knowledge, concentration on original research. And in next subsequent, there shall be an industry application of this new knowledge. So most of the research thesis get adopted with immediate application. So it is good to have a thesis which is an agglomeration, no, which is a combined version of both original contribution and as well an application for the original contribution. And that thesis really deserves a great appreciation. So don't carry any opinion on that. This is great research, that's not great research, or this is great research, that's not. I mean, there shall not be any such very no clear separation between pure and applied, strictly speaking, and no controversy, at least in the minds of researchers. So, look, dear friends, we understood with this couple of slides example that what are the different attributes of a good researcher, attributes of a process-led research. I said search is a process of figuring out something of my interest in a specific location. I want to put my signature, I'm searching for my pen. That doesn't mean that I go and search for a pen everywhere, but I search in my pocket. That's the scope. In addition to that, you have to make tools and procedures, and I have to start with some assumption. I have to guess toward the solution with the background of my knowledge. I must be committed, right, and so on. And I must have a diversification ability to think differently, unconventionally. So we understood with pictorial examples. And finally, I touched upon different ways of conducting research, and revising fact is the best way of carrying out the research, which can bring in you kind of rewards into your credit, right, into your personality. And then research can be categorized into two: one, original, basic, contributory in terms of knowledge. Other one is applied, which makes use of the knowledge available to see that my current need gets solved. These are the two, and there shall not be any clear-cut separation between them, but we should appreciate both of them. There shall not be any controversy